Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another video about our RTB 2021 Read Through the Bible series that we're doing together as a church family. Today, the readings are Numbers 1, Psalm 35, Ecclesiastes 11, and Titus 3. So let's get into them today. Numbers 1 tells the story of the census of those who are able to fight in war for the Israelites as they are camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And you see that the Lord says to them, take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel by clans, by fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and upward, all in Israel who are able to go to war. And Moses and Aaron should list them company by company. A big purpose of this chapter is to demonstrate how the promise to Abraham that his genealogy would be like the sand in the seashore is fulfilled. The number of Israel's warriors, and that is just people above males above 20 years old, is so long and such an expansive generation that we have now, and we see that the descendants are extremely numerous, and that even the army of Israel is bolstered as they are about to enter the Promised Land. We also see the responsibilities of the Levites in the Israelite camp, which is the priestly tribe. They were exempted from the census because they were responsible for the tabernacle, and therefore they couldn't go and fight because they had their own responsibilities in the camp. So this is a very interesting passage that, somewhat boring, somewhat dense that you have to work through. But it does tell you that all those listed were 603,550, which is only the men above 20 willing to fight. And just the understanding of the promises that were fulfilled at that time are a very beautiful thing for us today to remember that God keeps his promises. So we'll move on to Psalm 35. Let me find it real quick. Psalm 35 is a cry out to the Lord for help against malicious pursuers of the people of God. It is a beautiful kind of war cry even to Yahweh from David. Draw the spear and javelin against my pursuers. Say to my soul, I am your salvation. And it lists these things that the malicious pursuers of the righteous people do. And their cry out to God to help them and to rescue them from the destruction that the lions and the dogs would bring. So a very, very beautiful psalm that we can utter now, that as we are pursued and we are, we suffer and we are persecuted, so to speak, even today. Let them be put to shame and disappointed altogether who rejoice in my calamity. Let me be clothed with shame and dishonor who magnify themselves against me. We also have Ecclesiastes 11, which is kind of a confusing chapter to the modern audience, but as the ESV Study Bible says, casting our bread upon the waters and finding it many days later is a metaphor without many contemporary parallels. So the meaning can be very uncertain to us, but it's a very proverbial passage, meaning it offers a lot of practical wisdom that we can take, such as if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all, but let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart, in the sight of your eyes, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Remove vexation from your heart, and put away pain from your body, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. This is the chapter that sits right before, it's what we would call a penultimate chapter. It sits right before the last chapter of Ecclesiastes, in which we find kind of like the most joyful or hopeful part of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. But there is a lot of wisdom that we could take from chapter 11. If clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves on the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or to the north, and the place where the tree falls, there it will lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not weep. Because we don't know the way the Spirit comes to the bones in the womb of a woman with child, and we do not know the work of God who makes everything. But it is still practical for us to rejoice in all the ways of the days of our youth. So finally, we have Titus 3, which is a beautiful kind of passage that expresses our justification by grace. Titus just kind of wraps up his chapter, Paul kind of wraps up his letter to Titus, reminding them to be obedient, ready for every good work, to speak evil of no one, to avoid quarreling, to be gentle, and to show perfect courtesy toward all people. And it talks about how we were once those people who we need to show courtesy to. We were slaves to our various passions and pleasures, passing our days in malice and envy, hated by others and hating one another. But then we see Paul kind of gives us this wonderful kind of encapsulation of the life-changing nature of the gospel. He saved us, not because of our works, but according to his mercy. So we now show that mercy and that kindness to others that we were showed. So yeah, thank you for tuning in to another episode of RTB 2021. May your reading and your digestion of the word be blessed, and yeah, thank you.